Now this is a situation I didn't switch it off. It's actually on. Now this happens when the temperature on the 50 watt panel gets too hot. It triggers the dusk to dawn feature, as you can see. So I think I might have to adjust this panel maybe for winter. Just set it and forget it. Because I don't like this. The 50 watt panel. I believe I've recently installed it a few weeks ago or so. It's outputting the power that it's supposed to output. But this situation right here, I'm not really a fan of it. I tried checking out the wires in the past. Temperature, it's cool. There's nothing physically I suspect. It's thermal. It's now basically the panel just decided nope, it's too hot, and it's a pity that I don't have like like a thermal sensor at the back of that panel to actually see what the temperature is, because this is what normally happens. But I think I will just go with the plan that I originally intended. But let's go outside and see what the situation is. Normally when the wind blows, that's not an issue. It's actually quite gentle now. The sky is quite clear, no clouds, except for that little guy over there. That's the panel right there, the 50 watt, but let me take you even closer. Just hope this gentle breeze is not affecting with the sound quality. 250 watt panels. I've already made lengthy videos. Oh, looks like this paint didn't age too well. Trying to seal up the glass, the gap between the glass and aluminium frame. Now that thermal condition, the thermal blanket for the geyser does a good job in keeping that geyser warm, and also reducing the power bill. This is the panel in question, the one that's actually just decided to shut down. I tried in the past to flip it over, see maybe there's a connection error, but it only happens around this time, which is now about 11:15 p.m. a.m. actually in the morning. I maybe thought that adding a piece of this blanket, trying to keep excess heat from bouncing from the roof to the back side of the panel. It's funny, these two panels are much older than that. They actually endured a lot more experiments, if you can call it that, but they are not thermally shutting down. They keep pushing out the power that they were designed to. But this panel over here, so I think what I need to do is, and I might make a follow-up to this video. Snap the channel, please. It's actually full of warm air. So I think what I need to do is either move those bricks with a piece of wire a few degrees to the right. I think I might do that, or I may use this pole and then maybe get a few bricks or some heavy material and then just angle it more towards the east. Hopefully more air will be able, and it's not like there's enough airflow here, so take you on the inside. See there? There's enough airflow, so I don't get why this. My suspicion is it's thermal, so I keep coming back to. I've tried quite a few other things, but I think that's the one thing I need to do and add more of this. It's kind of like and looks like aluminium attached to plastic. It gives off the same reflection of light, but it's done an awesome job with the geyser, consuming less power, keeping the same warm water in the geyser warmer for longer, using less energy. But that might be a topic for a future video. So I will do that, and the month of around December I might make a follow-up to this video and see if that same issue still persists. So thank you for watching till the end, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. So for about an hour this panel was missing in action. It's now outputting 2.6 amps, and this panel is now also adjusting. Earlier it was outputting about the same as that. Now since this panel decided to come out of hibernation, I believe it's thermal throttling, or I'm not exactly sure. So many thoughts now. But anyway, I'm just glad it's back. Oh, there it goes out again. So I think it might be doing this for the next few moments. On off. And as you can see, this one will slowly ramp up. Because currently, that's my niece's tablet. It's currently charging. Just switch it off. By the red, and of course this DIY power bank. But I'll keep my eye on the situation. Let's see how much power. It's about half an amp, 13.2 volts. Come on. There we go, 13.2 volts is the battery current. What the battery is currently reading, and 0.9 amps. So the panel is far. It's not really ideally angled currently. Okay, it's 1 amp, but the point I'm trying to make here is something I've observed. You see, it's slowly ramping up because this guy, it lost consciousness for a few minutes now, or a few seconds. So this little guy is trying to make up for the power that's being drawn by the tiny load. So I think I'll just wait a few more minutes and then catch it when it comes back. So before the next clip is made, or when this guy decides to come from sleep, another observation, and it only dawned on me once I started experiencing this problem. Now this problem doesn't normally happen winter time, because I mean the temperature is cool, the radiation is not as high as possible, but as I've made this statement in previous videos, and I've made them quite a lot, the panels, whenever they are tested, is at around 25 degrees Celsius in a lab, and then the light is shown on the panel for like a few seconds, a second. I'm not exactly sure how that works. When the power peaks at that point, then that's what they rate it for. They don't rate it in real world conditions. So I think I'll just wait a few minutes for you to do your thing. The sun is still quite bright outside. So the time now, I think it's around 12:15, because when I experienced this issue was 11:15 a.m. and it's around now 12:15 p.m. So either one or two options: either swap the two panels out, the east and west, like chop them, the positive and negative cables, flip them. But I have a suspicion that years down the line it might give the similar problem. So either that option, or the option of just have it angled this panel much more towards the west for summertime, given the high radiation, and then when winter times come back, then I'll just have it adjusted to the way it is right now. Those are possible options I'm thinking of how to resolve this problem. I am not a happy camper regarding this, because this panel is supposed to produce power in my mind, but solutions always exist. So let me come back when this panel decides to be part of the team. See this panel? Having more than one solar array, guys, ladies, looky-loos, it's the way to go. So now seeing this, I'm thinking maybe I should get me like 3 solar arrays moving forward. That should be interesting. I'll come back a bit later when this panel sorted itself out. 3 hours 10 minutes later. So the issue started at around 11:15 a.m. this morning, and it's now about 3:25, so that's 11:15, 12:15, 1:15, 2:15, 3:15. Let me do the just hold on. That's about 3 hours 10 minutes. About, you can add maybe 3 or 4 minutes difference, but anyways, that's time that's about the amount of amps I couldn't see coming in from this 50-watt panel. Thank God for this panel that's aimed towards the west. It's actually been pulling the load on this it's actually been doing its job, while this panel has been taking a siesta in the middle of the day. But it's quite warm today, so I don't really hold it against this panel. I'm not sure what the temperature is outside, but it's one of those hot days. Now, as I've mentioned earlier in this video, that this was something that happened in the past. Winter times it didn't happen because the panels were cool. So the solution moving forward, it's either going to be swapping the 50 watt panel with the other 50 watt panel. So 50 watt east goes to west and 50 watt west goes to east. And I don't think that will actually solve the problem given the high temperatures we experience here in Bandung, Namibia. So I think what I'll do is I'll rather just do some adjusting of the panel. So because this one is actually more accurately east, then this one is accurately west. So I'll simply just tilt the whole setup, including the panels for the storage area, more towards the west, and that hopefully should solve the problem. So I do think what I'll do is moving forward, as I'm bringing this video to a conclusion, that I will definitely make a follow-up and see if the solution that I applied actually solves the problem. But then I also need to wait for similar weather conditions, or weather conditions like today, and make sure that I'm here around 11:15, maybe a month from now, when the summer will be reaching its peak temperatures. 11:15, and then up to now what I said was like 2, give or take. And then if the thing still does, if the setup still runs the way it's running currently now after the adjustment, I'll definitely give you feedback. If not, then I will definitely make a follow-up video on this one that I currently having. I think the thumbnail of this should be I have a problem, and then maybe just show like a picture of this thing being switched off. So thank you for watching till the end, and see you in the next one. I had no idea the video will actually take this long. The last video you saw was shot in November, around the 11th, 2024. And today is, I think it's February 2025. I tried a variety of positions of the 50 watt panel on the roof, and yet the problem kept on showing its ugly head. It just shuts off and then it activates the dusk to dawn feature. And this feature is actually perfect for the way I want it to be activated at night and actually catch those mosquitoes, but that's outside the scope of this video. So I think I have a solution. Given that this is a 50 watt panel, it's aimed towards the east. Normally the mornings are very cool, and this 50 watt panel is aimed towards the west. As the sun moves slowly from the east to the west, the ambient temperature starts rising. The more perpendicular the sunlight, or the more right angle to the panel, the more the light coming from the sun hitting the panel, the more perpendicular it becomes for this particular panel. It raises the temperature more than usual, and this is where it actually trips out. So what I'm possibly gonna do is, since trying to position the panel, this one aimed towards the west, didn't get the job done. What I'll do is I'll simply just swap the two panels, and for the benefit of any first-time viewers, it's a dual solar setup. This is a 5 amp focus charge, PWM charge controller, 1224 volts, 1224 volts. One of those generic charge controllers. It has a capacity of 20 amperes, but I prefer not to push it beyond 5. The peak the 50 watt panel can put out is 3.3 amps, and the peak this panel can put out is 3.3 amps. Okay, now with that summary out of the way, what I'm planning to do is simply just swap the two panels. So this panel, being sensitive towards high temperatures, will then be exposed to the early cool morning temperatures, and this 50 watt panel then will simply take the place of this 50 watt panel, and hopefully that will actually resolve the issue. Because trust me when I say this, seeing this thing go blank, seeing the dusk to dawn feature being activated, it makes my skin crawl, because that's an hour, that's 2 hours, that's 3 hours that's actually going to waste. And I actually have plans of getting more of these batteries, either sodium or lithium iron phosphate, and then slowly build up the energy reserve, because I've checked out a lot of videos on YouTube, and the number one problem, or the number one thing, if you can call it that, I personally have an issue with, is energy storage. There's a surplus of renewable energy, and most of them actually ends up being curtailed. Just even with this pulse width modulation setup I got here with a 105 amp deep cycle flood lead acid battery, Once it reaches a certain voltage, it pushes up to 14.5 in my setup, and then after it rests, then at 13.8 volts. Now, during that time and when the sun sets, assuming there's not a lot of loads on the system, it's wasted. And this is why I feel that I need to implement this plan as soon as possible. Actually, as soon as possible is rich coming from me, given that this video has been in the making over 2 3 months. November, December, January. Happy New Year, everyone. January, February. We're in February, stuck right now. So enough of the chit chat. Let me start switching this off. Let me plug this because it will be activated once. Okay, yeah, let me just continue this. I mean, I hate it when panels are sitting idly in the sun. Okay, now it's off. It's activated. Outside, this is the panel that is faulted. So this 50-watt panel towards the east, simply take the position of the panel that's supposed to be to the west or west, just have them flip the script. Okay, cloudy day. We actually had some rainfall yesterday, so I'll take this as my opportunity to have this swapped out. So okay, be back in a few seconds. Oh boy, it was quite a process. I suspect, I think I know where the problem lies. Why because the panels actually switched, I switched them over, the north to south, east and west, but basically the positions are the same. I think I know where the problem lies, and I actually rectified the situation. Things should go forward smoothly. Shouldn't like just cut off at the moment's notice. I know it. I knew it had to do with the thermal, but I wasn't quite sure. But let me show you where I think the problem was. But am I going to switch the panels back again? No, leave it as is. So this casing at the back. On the 50-watt panel, it was completely sealed up, and I think this panel I need to remove it because there's like a blocking diode between the two, the negative and the positive terminals at the back of the 50-watt panel. And I suspect that when the temperature inside this box, I'm not exactly sure why, when it gets too hot and it sort of like it throttles or it just completely switches off until the temperature drops a bit. And yeah, this is definitely the 30-watt panel that got replaced by the 50-watt panel. Still in good condition. It's now just currently sitting inside one of these boxes until I find something useful for it, or maybe get like another charge controller, preferably an MPPT charge controller, over to the roof, and let me show you how the thing looks as it looks right now. So now I actually have an idea of how the bigger setup will look like. Maybe two 330-watt panels, or maybe two 400, or maybe two 500-watt panels. And the positions these two panels are in, it's perfect. So the panel that gave me the issue was this little guy. And as I illustrated a few seconds ago, at the back there are two cables that go into like a tiny little black box, and I had that thing completely sealed up. Of course the hot glue gun did its job, but me, hindsight, thought that seal it up for the weather so the weather can't get in, and it completely slipped my mind that raindrops are not like David Beckham's soccer goals or the way he kicks where the balls actually bend. Raindrops come down, they slide down the panel and then they make the exit. Same holds true for this 50-watt panel. Hits the panel, maybe on nice, some rainfall in the background, awesome. Anyway, raindrops hit the panel, go down, and they make the exit along the, I'm not sure what this is called, gieter in Afrikaans, but you can see it makes sense, show and tell. So now with the panels being swapped, this one pointing towards the west and this one pointing towards the east, this panel, The controllers will hold it perfectly fine because these panels at peak they kick out 3.2 amps. Very rarely. I actually made a video on that, and I believe it. Just check out the list where something with efficiency, but it's not a lot of videos. You can find it easily. Where one of these, this panel in question, or was it that panel? Anyway, I think all those details should be in there, where the panels actually produced 3.3 amps, somewhere around 3.4 amps. Now this has a lot to do with, as I've mentioned many times before, the ambient temperature, because these panels, when they are when they're given their ratings under light in the control environment at exactly 25 degrees Celsius, shown on the panel for like a split second or so, and then whatever the amps and volts, etc., reads on the instrument, that's the details that they throw onto this. Of course, that being the control environment, this being the real environment, for me was definitely pleasing to see what these panels are capable of. For signing off, goodness, the sun doesn't play around with this. It's not the catwalk, it's functional, and that's all. Makes sense. I actually accidentally drilled through the back of the panel through the aluminium frame, and these panels are still holding up. So that's why I initially thought it had to be the thermal, but it remains to be seen. Today is cloudy, so the same environment that caused this panel to act up, to act a fool, I'm waiting for a day like that. So if nothing else shows up, then there won't be a follow-up to this video. So I thank you for watching till the end. See you guys in the next one.